To the youth listening today, I give a specific challenge. Gain a personal witness of the prophet Joseph Smith. Consider recording the testimony of Joseph Smith in your own voice, listening to it regularly, and sharing it with friends. Listening to the prophet's testimony in your own voice will help bring the witness you seek.
Sometime in the second year after our removal to Manchester,
there was in the place where we lived an unusual excitement on the subject of religion.
It commenced with the Methodists,
which soon became general among all the sects in that region of the country.
Indeed, the whole district of country seemed affected by it.
And great multitudes united themselves to the different religious parties,
which created no small stir and division amongst the people.
Some crying low here and others low there.
Some were contending for the Methodist faith,
some for the Presbyterian,
and some for the Baptist.
During this time of great excitement, my mind was called up to serious reflection and great uneasiness.
But though my feelings were deep and often poignant,
still I kept myself aloof from all these parties.
Though I attended their several meetings as often as occasion would permit.
In process of time, my mind became somewhat partial to the Methodist sect.
I felt some desire to be united with them.
But so great were the confusion and the strife among the different denominations
that it was impossible for a person young as I was,
and so unacquainted with men and things,
to come to any certain conclusion.
Who was right and who was wrong?
In the midst of this war of words
and tumult of opinions,
I often said to myself,
what is to be done?
Who of all these parties are right?
Or are they all wrong together?
If any one of them be right.
What is it?
And how shall I know it?
While I was laboring under the extreme difficulties caused by the contests of these parties of religionists,
I was one day reading the Epistle of James,
1st chapter and 5th verse,
which reads,
If any of you lack wisdom,
let him ask of God, that giveth to all men liberally, and upbraideth not,
and it shall be given him.
Never did any passage of Scripture come with more power to the heart of man
than this did at this time to mine.
It seemed to enter with great force
into every feeling of my heart. I reflected on it again and again,
knowing that if any person needed wisdom from God,
I did.
For how to act I did not know.
And unless I could get more wisdom than I then had,
I would never know.
For the teachers of religion of the different sects
understood the same passage of Scripture so differently
as to destroy all confidence
in settling the question by an appeal to the Bible.
At length I came to the conclusion
that I must either remain in darkness and confusion,
or else I must do as James directs.
That is, ask of God.
I at length came to the determination
to ask of God,
concluding that if he gave wisdom to them that lacked wisdom,
and would give liberally,
and not upbraid,
I might venture.
So in accordance with this, my determination to ask of God,
I retired to the woods to make the attempt. It was on the morning of a beautiful, clear day,
early in the spring of 1820.
It was the first time in my life that I had made such an attempt, for amidst all my anxieties, I had never as yet made the attempt to pray vocally.
After I had retired to the place where I had previously designed to go,
having looked around me and finding myself alone,
I kneeled down and began to offer up the desires of my heart to God.
I had scarcely done so when immediately I was seized upon by some power which entirely overcame me, and had
such an astonishing influence over me as to bind my tongue so that I could not speak.
Thick darkness gathered around me, and it seemed to me
for a time as if I were doomed to sudden destruction.
But exerting all my powers to call upon God to deliver me out of the power of this enemy, which had seized upon me.
And at the very moment when I was ready to sink into despair
and abandon myself to destruction,
not to an imaginary ruin,
but to the power of some actual being from the unseen world,
who had such marvelous power as I had never before felt in any being.
Just at this moment of great alarm, I saw a pillar of light exactly over my head,
above the brightness of the sun, which descended gradually until it fell upon me.
It no sooner appeared than I found myself delivered from the enemy which held me bound.
When the light rested upon me, I saw two personages, whose brightness and glory defy all description, standing above me in the air.
One of them spake unto me, calling me by name, and said, pointing to the other, This is my beloved Son, hear him.